Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I am going to be making 4 fabulous projects using the brand new release from Cat Scrappiness. It's the Merry Grinchmas release, and they are giving away a $25 gift card to anybody hopping along that fills out the raffle form. You can find all the stops on the hop with the hashtag KSMerryGrinchmas, and this is leading up to their big virtual retreat on December 3rd. So check out all the details for all the things in the description box below, and let's check out the things that they sent me to play with today. The Merry Grinchmas stamp set. There is this fun die set that has the Grinch's hand holding the ornament. We have a Bah Humbug die and shadow layer. We have the Merry Grinchmas paper pad. This is super fun. I'm going to flip through it for you real quick so you can see the 6x6 papers. It's double-sided. It's a thick paper and it has a little bit of a glossy finish to it. Not too much, not too shiny. And I will be using this paper on my cards today. And the only thing I'm not using is the die with the where he's holding the ornament, but I'm going to use that later. All right, I also have 2 embellishment kits. I will use both of those in today's card, but today's cards are all about adding gift cards to your cards in some fun and simple ways. So here I wanted to show you all the images in the stamp set stamped, and then I'm going to color them out. You can see the colors I'm using right there on my paper. Now, I'm not saying these colors that I'm using are the absolute best colors for coloring a Grinch. They're just the best ones that I had, and I really like how it turned out. So I have YG09 as my darkest color, which I did put down first. I brought in my mid-tone color, which is YG06, and then I'll bring in my lightest color, which is YG03, to blend that out and be the highlight of the images. So I'm going to color all the Grinches the exact same way as you saw me color this one. So those are all done, and then I'm bringing in R39 as my darkest red color, R29 as my mid-tone, and R17 as my lightest. So I'm adding in those shadows first. I'm bringing in the R29 and making those shadow areas a little bigger, and then filling it in with my R17. And I do like to sometimes go over my images 2 times using this color technique. Just helps to blend them a little bit better. Maybe I want to add a little bit more of a shadow, so I will do that sometimes. Now, I did all the red the same except for this giant bag of stolen presents on the back of the Grinch. I brought in an even darker color for 4 colors there, and the darkest is R59. The rest of the colors are the exact same that I used on all the other red coloring on these stamped images. So pretty easy to do. I am not a Copic coloring expert, so I'm not going to pretend to like teach you how to color with Copic markers or alcohol markers, but I just really love doing it. So I like to share it with you. So I have another green here. I added in YG45 for the tree, but first I colored the whole thing with my lightest color, and then I am using all the colors again on the tree, and just it's so big that I'm leaving a lot more of that lightest color when I go over the tree, and it's a really fun poofy little tree to color. I didn't color the star. I'll be adding that in later. I also added a little shadow on all the white things with my N1 marker, so you see me showing you that right here. I like neutral grays. I've got a bunch of them out because I'm also going to color the chimney out with those neutral grays. Also, I did my darkest neutral gray, which is N8, on all the black things, noses and buttons. All right, so for the chimney, I colored the bricks my lighter colors, which is N1, N3, and N4. Then for the chimney itself, I'm using N5. This is actually my lightest color. I just kind of wanted to play with where the shadows were going to go, so I didn't start out with my darkest color, which is the N8, and then I have my N6 and again my N5, and I just like to use the same color tone for something like this, but have darker on the bricks, lighter on the chimney. And then I have some E markers for my little dog Max. I started with E35, and then I have E33 for my mid-tone, and then I will have a lightest color, which is E31. And I also colored him with a red color and a red tongue. So cute. All right, so the last step for this would be to do a white gel pen. Oh, I did color out the little wooden base there for the tree with those same brown markers. So for the white gel pen, I am using a size 8 in the Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just adding some dots and lines and really bringing some highlights to these images, which I absolutely love to do. Also, you should note there is a coordinating die set for these. I didn't have the coordinating die set at the time I stamped these, so I did fussy cut them out. So yours is going to be a little bit different. I believe you can cut the dog out separate from the Grinch, which is really cool, but I just cut mine all around the edge. So here, let's move into the card making. So for card number 1, I have an A2 card base, and then I have a decorative panel there. I've got my sentiment, my stamped images. I have a 1-inch strip of that other decorative paper, and I cut out a rectangle using the stitched mini slimline die set that I have from Cat Scrappiness, and that's going to be for my sentiment. So we're going to put all the things together and include a gift card on the front of this card. So I'm doing a card here where the scene incorporates the gift card. Now you can see my pattern paper goes all the way to the edge of my card, but leaving me a border of that bright green at the top and the bottom. And then my 1-inch strip I'm going to have be like the floor where my Grinch is standing on. Plus I love a good striped holiday paper. So fun. All right, so the sentiment is getting added to that stitched rectangle that on that red cardstock, and then you can see I've got a ton of excess, but I like to leave it long and cut off any excess when I just used part of the rectangle. I find it's easier to get a nice cut when I just cut it right with the edge of the paper. So I brought in some foam strips, and I'm going to put some foam just on that left side of my Grinch image, and I'm going to also add a little bit of liquid glue so I can move this around if I need to, and that is open on one side because I want to tuck the gift card behind there. To help secure it in place, I did use a glue dot on the card base itself, and that's going to hold the gift card there but make it really easy to take it out. Now the gift cards I'm using are ones that I recycle and I use for when I'm creating videos, and then when it's time I can easily add in the real deal that I'm going to actually give away, but I just have some on hand for card making. I added some holly and berries there to finish it off. Now let's move on to card number 2, which is a shaker card. So I have this mini slimline size card base, which is a 6x6 scored at 3 inches. I added a 3x6 inch piece of the pattern paper, and I brought back that stitched edge rectangle mini slimline die set. I'm going to scoot it all the way over to one side and cut out a rectangle where I just temporarily adhered the pattern paper down to the card base because I wanted to cut through both layers because my shaker is going to be see-through. Yeah. All right, so what I did is added a window sheet to the back of my panel that is the pattern paper, and then I added the second window sheet to the front of the card base, but I'm going to tell you, it is much easier to add the second window sheet to the back of your pattern paper panel once you've added the foam strips to the pattern paper panel, and then glue the whole thing down to your card base, which is what I normally do. I don't know why I did it this way this time. Sometimes your mind is distracted. I was probably listening to a true crime podcast when I was recording this because that's what I like to listen to. So yeah, that's probably what happened. All right, so I'm bringing in that first embellishment mix. It's got sprinkles in it and little Grinch faces. It's really fun. Some of the sprinkles were just like a tiny bit too big, so I took the biggest ones out, and I even brought in that second shaker mix, which is the Grinch heads smaller on white, and then I put my pattern paper panel over the top. Let's be honest, this did not line up perfectly, but it's a handmade card. So I just went with it, and it really wasn't that bad. I was able to resituate it a tiny bit. I added the Grinch there who's like carting away the Christmas tree. Now, is he bringing the Christmas tree back, or is he stealing it? I'm going to say he's bringing it back. I like that Grinch the best. All right, so I'm bringing in that Bah Humbug die set. I am using some fun foam that's glittered on top. It's from Spellbinders. They do have it in the Cat Scrappiness website shop, and so I thought it would be really fun because this bright green color matches the Grinch theme so well. And then the top layer is some red mirror cardstock. Ooh, it's so good together. It's so cool. So I'm just going to glue that down on top of my window sheet to finish off the front of the card. And for my star on the top of my tree, I brought in a gold glitter pen to color that in and make it shiny. So for this gift card, I put 2 foam or glue dots on the back. Yeah, and then I'm going to situate this before I press it down so it looks nice in my window. And then you can see the gift card through the front of the card, and you can always write on the other side of that card base. All right, let's move on to a bonus project. So I die cut out the front of that card, and I have these extra rectangles, and the negative piece gets stitching on it too, as well as the positive piece. So I had stitching on both. It made them a little bit more special. So I decided to do a gift card on a gift tag. Yeah, and I'm going to make it double layered. I'm going to use both pieces. I added a little that pattern paper that has the stripe on the front one. I'm going to tape this tiny circle die to the front and use that as a place to tie the 2 tags together with some really cool twine I've had for 100 years. It is also candy striped. It's very thick, and so I needed a large hole. I did not use a hole punch for this. I used a circle die because you can see this is so thick, which is why I haven't used it very much. I mostly do paper scrap, paper crafting things. So to use this large twine was just one of those things I have not used very much of it, but it was perfect for this tag. So I tied the 2 together. I found like a little snowflake charm in my, stash of things to use someday. And it was kind of glittery, so I just used it. But you could put anything there, a stamped and die cut snowflake, whatever you want. So I stuck the glue dots on the back of a gift card, put it on that second tag, and I like when you open it up, you can see the back side of the pattern paper, and you've got your gift card there. So there's a little bonus for you. Let's move on to card number 3. As we've moved on in this video, each card is getting a little bit more we've bumped up the level of difficulty. So this one, we're going to do like some pencil marks and cutting with the blade and making a little secret pocket. I marked where I wanted the gift card to end up on when this card is finished, and then I made a line a little bit lower than that where I wanted the hidden pocket to be. I'm going to take a scoring blade, or it's really an X-Acto knife. It doesn't score, it cuts. And I cut a little slit there, and then I'm going to make this opening just a tiny bit bigger with my scissors. I feel like this is easier to do. I am not the best when it comes to blades. No, I prefer scissors. Now I'm going to mask off the area where that opening is, and above it, I'm going to do some ink blending and create a wintry nighttime sky. So my first color is Prize Ribbon. I am completely obsessed with Prize Ribbon blue for a nighttime wintry sky. Or a wintry sky, a snowy sky. I love it. So I did that. I made it pretty dark, and then I'm just going to come in and dust the top with a little bit of black soot to give it even more of a nighttime feel and really blend it in with that Prize Ribbon. So then because I love splatter, I did spritz on some water, and that is going to oxidize that ink and pick up some of the color. It's so fabulous. So next, to add the snow, I'm going to do a little bit of Dr. P.H. Martin's No Bleed White, and I added a tiny bit of water in this to make it a little bit more splatterable because this is very thick paint, very thick. So I always need to add a little water. I'm going to let that dry, and then we're going to do some like drawing on the bottom, which I'm going to tell you right now, I stamp because I can't draw. But I felt like this part of the card was one of those things I could totally get away with because it's going to be a snowy scene. So if my scalloped rooftop is not to perfection, it's okay. Right? Like I said earlier, it's a handmade card. And I'm just doing this because it's fun. And I did have so much fun drawing these scallops. I used N8 as my darkest color there. And then I'm bringing in N6. You can see these are the markers I had out from earlier. So I just brought them in, started doing my rooftop, making each of the scallops a little bit bigger as I moved on with each additional color. And It was so fun. It did bring in N3, and I actually, even after I turned off the camera, brought in a little N4 and kind of blended all those colors together a little bit. You can see I left some white there, and then I added a black strip across the top, but I only put the adhesive on the bottom part of that strip so it wouldn't glue shut my little opening for my gift card. And then I'm using some extra thick cardstock to make a little trap for my gift card so it can't escape. And it also is a stopper at the bottom and helps raise the cardstock up a little bit to allow room for the gift card so it's not too tight. Then I use this stamp set from My Favorite Things to stamp the word pull right there on my Grinch. I'm going to attach it to the gift card itself. So when you pull the little Grinch coming up out of the chimney, he is going to pull out the gift card. So it's just a really easy way to add this. I have to say I had so much fun with the roof. I think it looks fun, but I felt like it would look even more authentic if we continued that snowy look on the bottom half of the card. So I covered up my gift card, and then I flicked my brush, tapped it, and then I'm also drying it on the edge of my window sheet to really get that fine mist of snow. All right, so while that's drying, I'm moving on to stamping my sentiment. I wanted it white on red cardstock, so I used clear embossing ink and white embossing powder. I heat set that, I cut it out. There is a die for this in the coordinating die set, which will be out soon, and I am now embellishing. So I thought it would be really fun to have like a little string of almost Christmas lights, but I'm going to use the Grinch heads as the lights. So I'm also going to draw in a little string of lights. I'm just doing a tiny square at the top of each of those little circles. And then I'm kind of doing a little wonky cord to attach them to the roof, and I just thought it was really fun and whimsical. So that's what I did. I think it turned out good. I wanted to make them shiny, so I have some glaze I added that will dry crystal clear. I added that to the top, and then I'm not sure I love this next step, except I really love rock candy glitter. I added just a tiny bit over the top of each one. I think this makes it a little bit harder to really see the actual face, but it also looks a little bit frosty and snowy, so I like that. All right, I glued everything down except the gift card to a black card base, so you can write on the inside with like a white gel pen or a chalk marker, and it's really fun. It just kind of continues that snowy feel. So here's all 4 of my projects from this giant release at Cat Scrappiness. I hope that you'll go over and check it out. I have a link to it in the description box below, as well as the stops on the hop that you're going to want to check out. There's also the form to fill out for the gift card. Everybody loves a shopping spree, so you've got to enter. And then there's details there about their virtual event coming up on December 3rd. And you can easily find the hop if you use the hashtag KS Merry Grinchmas. There's also an Instagram hop, so go check that out too for even more chances to win. I thank you so much for stopping by my channel. If you're brand new here, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I have new card making videos like this all the time, and I will see you all again very soon on the next one. Happy stamping! Bye!